You're watching NBC 39.
This program is a presentation of the broadcast journalism program of Union University and its digital news platform, West Tennessee Today. The opinions or perspectives presented in interviews are not necessarily the views of WNBJ 39, its ownership, staff, or management.
When the news breaks out, we break in. West Tennessee Today.
Hello, I'm Skylar Norcom.
And I'm Mackenzie Donnell. We've been experiencing the coldest temperatures of the winter in West Tennessee this week.
The big question is whether we're going to dip below zero Sunday night and into early Monday morning.
Let's go to Steve Beverly at the Pinpoint Weather Board to see what's likely to happen.
West Tennessee Today. Weather.
Well, I'll tell you how all this started. It was Tuesday when we got our first glimpse of what we knew was going to be some serious weather, because in upper northwest Tennessee, Dyer County, Lake County, Obion, and Weakley, we were under an ice storm warning on Tuesday evening going into Wednesday. And then you have about a 10-county area that included Madison, Henderson, Crockett, Haywood, Lauderdale, Tipton, and up here Carroll and Gibson. All of these areas were under a winter storm watch that started Wednesday night going into Thursday. And what really we've been looking for is the potential more of icy conditions rather than snow. And as many of you know who have lived here in this area for a long time, our repair crews can handle snow relatively well, but when the roads begin to get icy and you get into situations where it's potentially a quarter to a third, and then the worst case scenario really is a half inch of ice, that's where you have power lines that go down. That's where you have some really serious situations. Now, what we're expecting right now is that our temperatures are going to be down into the single digits on Sunday night. That'll continue into Monday. And the big question mark is going to be, is that going to also bring with it winds that will knock our air temperature, or at least our feels like temperature, down into the negative, below zero? Chances are it's going to. And Eddie Holmes, our favorite meteorologist, will be here later on to tell us more.
Last year, we only had a light dusting of snow in the Jackson area. Sophie Box tells us why we haven't seen much in the last 2 years in West Tennessee.
West Tennessee Today. Here's what's happening.
Some predictions have us dropping as low as 5 below zero tonight. We could continue to see single-digit overnight temperatures through Wednesday. One thing we haven't seen as much of in the last 2 years is snow. 3 years ago, we had 4 to 8 inches of snow in portions of West Tennessee. A lot of that snow turned into a sheet of ice after 4 days in a row of freezing temperatures. Meteorologist Eddie Holmes of West Tennessee Weather Online explains why we haven't seen as much snow in the last 2 years.
And what usually happens down here in the south, we have the cold air coming in behind the moisture. And so, you know, maybe the rain system ends with a few snow flurries. So we have to get all those elements.
Eddie Holmes will be with us in our second segment tonight. He'll give us his best forecast on what we can expect from Sunday through Wednesday. I'm Sophie Box, West Tennessee Today.
This has also been a week where we look back at a weather story that changed the face of West Tennessee. 13 years ago, after a February day in the 80s, a major tornado ripped across the region. Jackson and the campus of Union University were especially hard hit. The dollars and cents added up to $45 million in damage at Union. 53 students were injured when they were trapped in the rubble in on-campus housing. In the Huntersville community, 2 people died when they were caught outdoors as the storm struck.
The memories are still as vivid today as they were in 2008 for people who experienced the tornado. Imani Williams visited with a Union vice president and a dean about how the campus recovered.
I remember, that day, students walking around in shorts, t-shirts and shorts, because it was in the 70s that day.
But we were checking, and my wife and I had stepped out of that area one time. The windows, of course, are open, and we heard the train, the locomotive sound, and we both looked at each other.
On February 5th, 2008, there was an outbreak of tornadoes across the southern part of the U.S. one hitting right here in the hub city. The EF4 tornado cut through Union University's campus.
It was a tough semester. We had to meet in different places, and again, people above me did an amazing job of juggling a schedule and finding new rooms. And
a large amount of the student housing collapsed, but now 13 years later, the campus looks a lot different.
The campus has grown considerably since 2008. We've got a whole new complex of residential student housing. The housing units that we had mostly were flattened and had to be bulldozed and rebuilt from scratch.
After speaking with people that were there that night, they say the tornado showed how much support they have.
When I think back on it, I think of the way that the Jackson and West Tennessee communities were so supportive of Union.
Imani Williams, 39 News, Jackson.
The state continues to raise questions about city spending with the Jackson Generals and waste management, but a grand jury has decided not to act on the report. Here's Skylar with the details.
It's been a week since a state investigation reported millions of dollars in questionable spending by the city of Jackson. The payments include side deals with the Jackson Generals and with Waste Management. After Mayor Scott Conger took office, he and other city officials reported questionable transactions during the previous administration. Among the payments, $526,000 to the Generals for services the club received through barter transactions. The state comptroller found the Generals were, in fact, paid twice for the same services. With other agreements, the city was paying the team more than $1 million. That deal was never brought to City Council for approval. Mayor Conger says this goes against what he believes the taxpayers deserve.
Because we serve people, and that's the important thing to do when we make decisions to make sure that everyone who is impacted, whose voice is heard.
The report also discovered the city spent more than $5 million to remove bulk waste by using its own health and sanitation departments. The city had a contract with Waste Management to do that work. District Attorney Jody Pickens took the report to a Madison County grand jury. The grand jury has opted not to take any action. This week, school board members heard an update on how well cyber school is progressing. Ellie Haynes reports on how the year-round stay-at-home studies are meeting expectations.
Cyber School was created last spring when students were sent home at the start of the pandemic. School Superintendent Marlon King said his goal was to keep permanent online study as an option after the pandemic ends. The curriculum is designed to allow students to work at home and at their own pace, but have a regular online instruction from school district teachers. In recent years, public schools have lost as many as 1,000 students to homeschooling. The hope for Cyber School was to bring back the homeschool environment under the public school umbrella. This week, Deputy Superintendent Vivian Williams had an update on how Cyber School is working.
Requiring more interaction with teachers, including live lessons. And then the focus groups have been established for parents and for teachers, and with the goal of improvement and planning for 21-22 school year, including requiring parent-student orientation and signed contracts.
Dr. King said 6 months ago that it's time to look at things that are not traditional. He believes Cyber School is definitely here to stay. Ellie Haynes, West Tennessee Today.
Let's look at this week's numbers on the coronavirus in Madison County. The daily case totals continue to decline, but unfortunately, we've had more deaths this week. At midweek, we moved over the 10,700 mark in overall COVID-19 cases. However, we've dropped down into the low 30s in the average number of daily cases of the virus. The number of active cases the county is monitoring is just above 430. Sadly, we began the week with the deaths of 2 women, ages 80 and 82, from complications with the virus. That brought the death toll up to 172.
Coming up, it's not just cold outside, it's turning icy this weekend.
The man we call the Commissioner of Chill, Eddie Holmes, will explain why we're having an Arctic blast. Next on West Tennessee This Week.
When the news breaks out, we break in. We break in. West Tennessee Today.
Watch West Tennessee's CW39 over the air and on cable JEA and Spectrum. Home to the only 9 p.m. news in West Tennessee.
Skyline Church of Christ, every Sunday morning at 7:30 on WNBJ, NBC 39.
As far as the east is from the west, that's how far God removes our transgressions.
you'll experience our beautiful tradition of spirit-led a cappella worship.
It's about serving God and serving the people in His kingdom.
Skyline Church of Christ, every Sunday morning at 7:30 on WNBJ.
Sunny days hanging out in the neighborhood. People smile, people laugh, and I'm feeling good. Blue skies, tell me why would I want to leave? Now this is home, yeah. Walking down the streets where it all began. Here's where I belong. This is who I am. No matter where I go, I guess I've always known. I tell you that this is home. Oh, living the good life. Oh, I think we got it right, yeah. Oh, I call this town my own. Yeah, that's right. This is home. This is home. Living the good life. Oh, I think we got it right, yeah. Oh, I call this town my own. Yeah, that's right. This is home. This is home.
Wayne Gerald's Songs of Yesterday on NBC 39.
When the news breaks out, we break in. West Tennessee today.
I'm Melissa Tatch. We've had some cold and windy days in West Tennessee in the last 2 weeks, but what we're experiencing this weekend is enough to make hot coffee freeze.
I'm Sophie Box. When that happens, we turn to the man who knows everything about the weather in West Tennessee. Madelyn Stadinger is standing by with meteorologist Eddie Holmes, and she has some rather icy questions.
First, we've had predictions in the single digits to below zero starting on Sunday night going into Monday and Tuesday. What are the chances that that's actually going to happen?
Well, right now, it looks like that we're going to probably see temperatures in the single digits above zero. Now, there are some things that could happen that would allow temperatures to go below zero, and that is if we were to get a snow cover. Right now, and maybe a glaze cover will do it. And, you know, we're going to get some glazing Thursday night. So for the first part of next week, we've got another chance of snow. So the Arctic air is going to hang around a while. And there's going to be the possibility of course, the temperatures getting near zero, if not below, if that happens.
So what are the chances, or how rare is it for us here in West Tennessee to have temperatures below zero?
Well, I look back in some of the records for February, especially. It is more rare than, of course, January. But it goes back a while. When you go back into the 50s, let me look over there at that display I have there. 51 and 58 were some of the times that we had temperatures below average, some of the coldest readings in February. So, you know, I would suspect, and I haven't seen the numbers on it, but I would suspect that we're going to be, you know, we probably see a below average, below zero reading probably about once every 15 years, something like that.
We haven't had a great deal of snow in West Tennessee in the past couple of years. Why is that?
Well, many times it has to do with just where the jet stream goes, and there's a lot of patterns that work together to allow us to have the cold air in place, for one thing. Then you've got to have the moisture source. And what usually happens down here in the South, we have the cold air coming in behind the moisture. And so, you know, maybe the rain system ends with a few snow flurries. So we have to get all those elements just right in order to produce a snowfall that's going to be accumulating. And, you know, we haven't had that very often, and like you said, like in the last few years.
So what would you classify this winter? Has it been more mild or more normal?
Yeah, it's been more mild so far. We've had our episodes of cool weather, and but yet I think when you crunch the numbers, you're coming up with a little bit above average, not too far off the beaten path.
Okay, so let's recap one more time. What are the chances we're going to have temperatures in the single digits by Sunday night? And what about the wind chill?
Well, as far as I think the chances have pretty good confidence that we're going to see those single digit readings, again, above zero. As far as the wind chill, we're going to be talking about wind chills, in the -5 to -10 range. So that gets dangerous. In about 30 minutes, you can have frostbite, if that long.
Coming up next, it's our Positively Jack segment. We'll visit with a woman who works closely with nonprofit organizations in our community.
She'll tell us about a grant that will bring hope for the homeless in the Jackson area. Stay with us for some more of the good things happening in West Tennessee this week.
When the news breaks out, we break in. West Tennessee Today.
Hey there, West Tennessee. Rach here. Join me weekday mornings at 11 right here on WNBJ, Channel 39. Booyah!
Mornings on NBC 39 are better than ever as Rachel Ray cooks up fun, laughs, and food.
Woo! Isn't that gorgeous?
Right after the Today Show, each weekday at 11.
It's Comfort TV every weekday morning on Channel 39 WNBJ. This is home.
When the news breaks out, we break in. All in one place. West Tennessee Today.
I'm Jackson Milner. The pandemic has taken a toll on the amount of money available for nonprofit agencies to help our local communities. We've seen the city of Jackson turn the Civic Center into a temporary warming center for the homeless.
I'm Madison Rowland, but that's not the only need for people without a home. This week, in our Positively Jack segment, we visit with Rebecca Creasy from the West Tennessee Healthcare Foundation. She'll tell us about a new grant that will provide even more help for the homeless.
The West Tennessee Healthcare Foundation is all about giving back to the community and the area all around our region. And something that has just been in this past week, a significant grant. The foundation has received a grant for $30,000 to work with emergency efforts for the homeless. And so Rebecca Creasy is here with us from the foundation to tell us all about that. Rebecca, good to have you here.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Tell us about this grant, because this has been, particularly during the pandemic, and we've seen our community open up the Civic Center, particularly for men who are homeless and dealing with the extreme cold weather. And then also we've got other agencies here and nonprofits in our community, the Care Center and the Women of Hope, the Hope Center. All of those have done such a marvelous work. Explain to us about this specific grant.
Yeah, this grant, it was requested from a mayor group, and Vicki Lake, she works in our office and she does great things writing and getting all this grant money. So she was able to do that through a mayor group. The end goal is to get permanent housing for those who are affected by homelessness. So this is for individuals and families where the primary breadwinner suffers from a substance abuse issue or, have a mental health issue. So trying to get that individual or family into permanent housing.
With this grant, how does the foundation connect up? I know many people at home would probably ask this question. How do they find out who specifically needs this kind of help?
Tennessee Homeless Solutions actually doing the brunt of that work. They'll identify the person that is in need. And the foundation is really just where the money's coming from. Tennessee Homeless Solutions is doing the bulk of that work.
And from where does this grant come? Because there are a lot of these that are out there all over the country, but where does this specific grant come from?
It is one that AmeriGroup does. It's one of AmeriGroup Tennessee's community initiatives that Vicki was familiar with, so she was able to apply for it.
I wanted to talk to you a bit about the community impact grants that the foundation awards to various nonprofit agencies every year. Now, this year it's a little bit different as far as the dollar amount for one big grant. I guess you could say the grand prize winner to a degree. Explain to us what's different about that this year.
We've just seen the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on our community. And with it being called the Community Impact Grants, we really wanted to find a way to make the biggest impact on our community that we could. Previously, the top grant amount dollar was $5,000. And so we thought by increasing that threshold, maybe we could really find an area of the community that we could make a difference in. And so the hope is somebody will have this great idea that we can fund this big project, but we also do have more grant dollars available to do some of the smaller grants because there are people who have great ideas, they just don't cost a lot. So we'd love to have those come in as well.
So the big one this year is going to be $30,000.
Yes.
That is huge. And as you say, it's the kind of thing that could be a transforming grant to an organization, a nonprofit for that. Now, having said that, now they still can be, all of the nonprofits can continue to make an offer and a proposal for something for the $5,000 range, if we have that correct.
Yes, so we have received grants from requests from $500 up to the $5,000 we've done typically. So they can request anything between $1 to the $30,000.
Now, a final thing in dealing with that as well, when we look at that and the different types of agencies that seek this kind of money, in the past years, what are some of the agencies that have been awarded these grants?
We've given grants to RIFA, to the Madison County Library, Arise to Read has received a grant. Really any nonprofit organization or fund of the foundation that serves Madison County is able to apply for this grant.
All right, Rebecca, here's a magic question on that. What are the deadlines for these agencies to apply? And is there a specific type of form that they have to get online, or how do they go about that?
Yes, so we're accepting proposals right now through February 26th. And you can find the guidelines for the grant application on our Facebook page or our website.
And that is, of course, West Tennessee Healthcare Foundation, that is also known in many circles as the Foundation. It's pretty simple, isn't it?
Very easy.
All right, well, Rebecca, much congratulations to the foundation for this all-important grant that it has received to assist our community in trying to find permanent solutions for the homeless here. That is certainly a huge concern. And also, I know we're looking forward to seeing what kind of proposals come on board, and perhaps maybe that, as you say, that transforming idea that could lead to a $30,000 grant for a nonprofit agency in our community. Thanks so much for your time. We do appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
We started this week's broadcast by telling you more than a chill is in the air. This is not exactly the weekend to take a walk outside if you want to stay warm.
When we return, we'll have a rather chilly forecast. Will tell us if the temperatures are about to drop below zero with your pinpoint weather forecast.
When the news breaks out, we break in. We break in. West Tennessee Today.
You ever wonder, they know I need new underwear. Should I get snow tires? I do need to remodel my kitchen. How do I get my ad on here? With people spending more time online, it makes sense to put your advertising there too. New Logic Marketing uses the most advanced analytics to get your business in front of the right people and seen here, there, and everywhere. New Logic Marketing, 731-240-1142. Sales at NBC39TV.com.
West Tennessee Today.
Here are those magic numbers we've been looking for. We don't expect it to get above 23 today, down to 11 tonight with a strong wind chill out of the north. Monday, a chance of snow showers once again as the Arctic air continues. 24 will be the high, 14 the low. And then Tuesday, we circled it. Our low very well may get down to single digits, 4 above. That's your West Tennessee Today pinpoint weather.
Next week, we'll see how the school board acts on zoning for the return of Jackson Central Mary High School. And we'll see how county commissioners prepare for another tight budget.
We'll tell you about a brand new grant to bring robotics to middle schools in West Tennessee. And Steve Beverly will have a commentary on an intersection that can make your blood pressure go up.
We invite you to follow us on Facebook at West Tennessee Today. You can see many of these stories that we cover live as they happen. I'm Madelyn Stadinger. Join us again next week for West Tennessee This Week.